Hi everybody, welcome to another author interview at In-House Publishing, and joining me today is Liz Walker. Hello Liz.
Hi Ocean, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Excellent.
We're going to be talking about Liz's book called Not for Kids. It's a very sensitive subject, a very topical one, and one that we need to address as parents and as a community. Liz, how about we get started by telling us what is Not for Kids?
Not for Kids is actually a children's book, and it's all about protecting kids online. So Not for Kids is very much about teaching children that pornography is not for them. And we know that statistically children are very likely to see pornography before they even hit puberty, and that's not something that parents really want to even begin to think about, but that's the reality. So the idea is to definitely prepare children in advance so that they know what to do when they see things that make them feel uncomfortable.
Right, okay. And what inspired you to write something like this?
My story. I saw pornography at the age of 6 and I was on a school bus. It was very, very confronting for me. I just really did not know how to process that. I had feelings of confusion, of shock, disgust and arousal, and then I felt like I had no one to talk to about that. So I really internalized those messages, and that exhibited itself in some behaviours, child behaviours that I now know are problem sexualised behaviours. So really the aim is for parents to not let their children be in that situation where they don't feel as though they've got anybody to talk to, so that kids can know, well, mum and dad know about this stuff, so I know that I can talk to them. I'm not going to be in trouble if I see something like this, and I know that it's really not for my eyes. So that's the whole idea.
I found this a little bit controversial when we started marketing this online, and I shared a post on Facebook, and we had a couple of comments, one in particular that took the whole project as a negative. And I remember discussing this with you about how we were to respond to that, and I said I'll leave that one for you. But it's quite a controversial subject. How have you found the reaction to the book since it's been out there?
The reaction to the book has been really, really good. I mean, we've had the Pornography and Harms to Children and Young People Symposium in Sydney in February, and I launched the book there. So it, a lot of sales there and a lot of good feedback since. But I think the thing is that people think that I'm trying to say, well, we just have to shelter kids altogether from, anything sexual, and that's not the reality at all. We live in a sexualized culture, and we've got to do everything that we can to prepare them well for healthy life, healthy relationships. So I like to say to parents, okay, so what do you want to see for your kids in the future? What sort of relationships would you like them to have in the future? So we need to backtrack right back to 3, 4, 5, 6 and start to embed some really good values about themselves and their bodies and sexuality. Not that we actually need to talk a lot about sexuality at that age, but teaching them that their bodies are okay. But what they might see about adults online is not necessarily for their eyes.
Because if we go back a little bit, I mean, you go back to where this inspiration came from your story when you were 6, and you're on a school bus, so I'm guessing that probably was a magazine of some kind.
It was a graphic magazine.
Yeah, and nowadays with the way that the internet is and mobile phones, I mean, it's far more accessible than it was, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Ocean, it is incredible, and even yesterday I was doing some more research around this, but Pornhub is the main porn site in the world. It's ranked number 65 of all the websites in the world, so it's the most commonly visited. It's been found to be the most common website for 14 to 15 year olds. Now, if I jump on that website right now, if I Google the term porn, it's going to come up as the top site. When I land on that page, there are 47 videos with screenshots that are extremely graphic that I can then go on and proceed to watch. Now, a consenting adult who, that's their business. But right now, we've got kids accessing that graphic content, and to me, that's abhorrent.
Do you think that it's a parent's responsibility to have blocks, or there's actually things you can put on your computer that prevents these being searched?
Absolutely. Whatever measures parents can take, I really encourage them to do that. But that shouldn't be in the absence of a good conversation.
Absolutely.
And for a child to know that they can go to you Because at the end of the day, you can have blocks on your home computer, which I'd highly recommend, but your child can go out to school, which is exactly what Millie does in the book. She goes to school and somebody passes her a phone. Because a phone, at the moment, the way that the internet has, unless you actually block that particular phone, but you're not responsible for somebody else's kids.
No, that's right.
So, you can do what you can do in your own home, but that is not going to prevent it.
Right, that's a very good point. What is the ultimate vision for the book? And I think the book is more a tool for your greater mission. So tell me about that. What's the goal here?
I would love to see Not for Kids get in the hands of as many kids worldwide as possible. I mean, it is one of 2 books that I know of in the world that deals with this in an age bracket under about 10 or 12. So Not for Kids is specifically aimed at the 5 to 10 year age bracket. It's really simple to read. It's beautiful artwork and lots of poetry in it, so it's written in rhyme. It's really, really easy and non-confrontational, so that kids get it, kids understand it. And so I've got a website that people can go to and have a look at support notes and discussion questions, so that when they're reading the book, they can open up discussions about all sorts of things. So I would really love to see this book in the hands of as many parents and carers as possible.
And I think that's the key thing. I mean, I'm a parent, I've got 4 kids and they're all grown now, but I brought them up with open communication, that they felt, I wanted them to feel that they could come up and talk to me about anything. And, sometimes as a parent you kind of don't want that, you don't want to hear all these stories. I remember Mum saying to me, I don't need to know. And I go, well, I just want to share. But I think that it's very important that the channels of communication are as open as possible, and to use a resource like this, fantastic.
That's right. And the reality is you cannot avoid the sexualised culture that we live in. So we've got to prepare our kids in the very best way we can. And see, when we look at the research, the younger a child sees pornography, the more complications that can lead to if that child doesn't have a way to process that information. So if they have somebody to go to and say, hey, I saw this, feeling all these sorts of feelings, and we can say, yeah, I understand that. That would make me feel icky and yucky as well. That what you're feeling is completely normal. Now it's up to you, if you don't want to feel those feelings, to not look at that again. But if we look fast forward to the research of the amount of problems that people are having in their relationships because of pornography, and the amount of young men who are seeing porn at the age of 10 or 12 and then growing up with addiction to porn, it's creating a whole plethora of problems. So we really want to backtrack and try and lay some healthy foundations so kids know, actually, that's not going to be a healthy thing for my eyes, my life, for my relationship.
What does the future look like for you?
For me, sky's the limit. I'd love to write more resources. I've already had people say to me, why did you pick a girl for the book? Like, well, because stereotypically we tend to think that it's guys that are affected by porn. And it's not, girls can have just as many complication or issues around it, and girls are just as likely to see porn. So we need to really lay healthy foundations for guys and girls, break down those stereotypes. So I'd love to write one about a young boy in the playground and seeing porn. So that's certainly on the radar. And education programs, that's what Youth Wellbeing Project, the side of my educational business, is about, providing educational resources for schools. So sky's the limit.
Awesome, I love that. That's what creativity can do. Creates massive goals, no limits, no boundaries. If you guys would like to get a copy of Not for Kids, or share the fact that this book is in existence to other parents and educators, jump onto Liz's website. That's the link below. Make sure you get in and support something like this. It's important that our kids are taught how to communicate about all issues, not just pornography, about all issues. Thank you so much, Liz.
Thank you, Ocean.
Cheers, guys.